Hola y bienvenidos from the cast and crew of One Day at a Time. And welcome to InformaGente, where we get to ask important questions of top experts on subjects that can be life-saving for people across California, with a special focus on the 16 million Latinx people in our state. In this edition, we're going to look at keeping yourself, your family, and your friends safe during this holiday season as the coronavirus continues to hit especially hard amongst Latinas and Latinos here and throughout the United States. I'm Gloria Calderón Kellett, the executive producer of the Emmy award-winning One Day at a Time that is currently airing on CBS. Joining me on this virtual set today are members of the One Day at a Time cast, including Todd Grinnell, Isabella Gomez, and the incredible Rita Moreno.
That's me. Hello, everybody. So good to see you and be with you. You may know that I play a grandmother, una abuela, on One Day at a Time. And the guidelines, here it is. This is what's important. The guidelines we all have to follow this holiday season are designed to keep me and all of our abuelitas and all of you safe.
Exactly, Rita. Hi, I'm Todd Grinnell. I play Schneider on One Day at a Time. And you may have seen as we wrapped up season 4 that Schneider has a lot of, let's just say challenges at home and with families. But for me personally, the holidays are a big deal for me. So I'm excited to talk about this year's holidays.
And I am Isabella Gomez. I play Elena Alvarez, who is the dorky activist daughter. And in Colombia, where I was born, and also in Florida, where I grew up, and then in LA, where I've lived for a while, the holidays have always seemed like a really big part of the Latinx culture. And whether you're a student or a mom raising a couple of kids, or you're working inside or out of your home, or struggling to find work or make ends meet, I know that the holidays mean the world to a lot of us, so we're here to talk about them.
And in my family, and for that matter, lots of Latinx families, big celebrations, and I'm talking about big, noisy, wonderful celebrations with terrific music. This has been a holiday tradition forever and ever. Pero este año, this COVID year, travel and big holiday gatherings sadly can put your friends and family in terrible, terrible danger of catching or spreading the coronavirus. You know, I'm always ready to burst into song and dance and laughter. This holiday season, I'm going to be really, really careful because this is very, very serious stuff. We're talking about life and death, you know?
Simply put, the COVID numbers for Latinx people are brutal. While Latinos and Latinas make up 40% of the California population, our communities account for 60% of all COVID cases in the state. That's around 450,000 cases by mid-November. 450,000.
So joining us today on InformaGente to look at what all of us can do this holiday season is Dr. Diana Ramos from the California Department of Public Health.
Dr. Ramos, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so relieved, really, that you could explain these guidelines to everyone. I know you've only got a few minutes, and this must be an incredibly busy time for you this time of year. So let me just ask this. What do people need to know this holiday season to stay safe? What do we all have to do differently? What is the smart way to celebrate this year?
The smart way to celebrate this year is to realize that the holiday season is upon us, and so is the rise in COVID-19 cases in California. It's safest to have your holiday celebrations with people you live with. Reduce the risk of infection by wearing a mask in public settings and wherever you are around people who are not part of your household. Remember that mask. Stay home if you are sick. And remember to also keep that 6-foot distancing and wash your hands continuously.
It's not just washing your hands, it's just washing your hands for a full count of 20. And I really count slowly because, man, I want to stay alive and I want to stay healthy. So I just want to remind people, including my daughter, who's forgotten that also. It's one of the things that a lot of people have forgotten.
It's true. At the beginning, we were all being so good about that, and they're washing it correctly, right? We did a whole we did a whole little modeling of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So good to remember that. That's a great point, Rita.
I have a question. So how big or how small a gathering is considered safe? Like, and should we stay outdoors if we can? Like, what is the recommendation for that?
The recommendation is, if possible, to be outdoors and to get together with the people that you live with. If you really want and you feel like you have to have a little bit bigger of a celebration, the recommendation is for no more than 3 families to be together, and really try to limit it to no more than 15. You know, as Rita said earlier, some of our families are pretty large, and we need to try to keep those numbers low. We need to protect our elders, our people who are susceptible to complications with COVID-19. So keep the reunion small.
That's great advice. I have another question. At my house, the holidays are like an all-day event. We're watching football games, we're watching parades, we're playing football, we're outside playing soccer. It goes into the night. Is there a time limit? Like, what would you say? What's a safe amount of time for people to be together?
Well, the time frame really is not as important as continuing to follow those basic recommendations, which is wearing the mask. If you're together for a long period of time, you start to get complacent and you may think, I don't need that mask, but actually you do, especially if you don't live with that person or that family member is just visiting from out of town. Remember, wear the mask, try to keep that social distancing of 6 feet if possible. So sit across on the other edge of the sofa and wash your hand, and remember not to be dipping into the same food. Have food individually packaged so that everybody has their own serving. You don't have to be touching utensils, touching the food, and that increases your risk for infection as well.
You know, no one wants to disappoint their abuelas, of course, but believe me, think of it this way. The greatest disappointment would be not to be able to see each other when the pandemic is done. To put it plainly, don't endanger abuela. And don't assume that the kids are all right and can't get or spread either of those things, okay?
That's right, Rita, because we know that 1 in 4 people are asymptomatic and they can actually spread COVID. So really, it's important that we take those precautionary measures. And like you said, we want to protect abuela, and if possible, stay virtual and be healthy so that next year you can all be together in person.
Okay, so when I go to some public places, I get COVID screenings. We went to a botanical gardens the other day and we got our temperature checked and the whole thing. So if I'm having people over to my house, which I'm not, but if I were to, is it important to do that sort of screening within our own family, within our own homes, temperature checks and all those sorts of things?
You know, I think you have to really trust your family members and let them know if you're sick, if you feel like you have a little bit of a fever, maybe some of the other symptoms, sort of throat or some GI symptoms like stomach problems, stay away. I think that's the most important thing to ask our family members is just to stay away. So once people are in your home, do you need to check their temperature, do the screening? You don't need to do that, but you could if you want. But I would hope that your family members, your immediate family members that you really want over your house, if they're not feeling well, they will be the ones to stay home and they can join you virtually. So just remembering again, those basic recommendations of making sure that mask is worn, the distancing and the hand washing are just so critical. Just stay with the basics.
I know I'm a pretty blunt person, and especially with COVID, I've been like, where have you been? What have you been doing? Have you been tested? Like, I don't mess around, but I do know some people get a little anxious about asking that kind of stuff. So do you think it's okay to ask people if they've been healthy or sick or exposed to the virus? And how would you go about doing that?
You know, if it's your family members that are coming, then you would, as we say in Spanish, entre nos, right? This is us. And we're going to ask each other because we are family. And if you honestly feel that you don't have that confidence asking that question to your loved one coming to your own home, maybe you better think about inviting somebody else or not inviting them and just having them join you virtually. This is protecting your health, your family's health that they're joining, and their health as well. And especialmente abuelita, right? Abuelita, abuelito are our elders who we treasure and we really want to protect.
And what about masks? Because a big part of holidays is, come on, we're Latinos, eating. So how do we wear a mask while we're eating? Is it like you lift up and you do like how, are people supposed to sit 6 feet apart like they do in restaurants? Can you give us some guidance on that front?
Sure. So the masks are important. And like you said, we're Latinos. Why not have some fun and have some fun masks for your holidays, however you want to create them. So when folks come in, you can say, okay, here's your mask that we made especially for our occasion. And yes, you do want to make sure that everyone's wearing the mask. Wearing the mask over your nose, over your mouth, because sometimes you see them hanging below the nose. That's not how you want them. You want them
Hallelujah, thank you.
you want them to cover your whole nose and your mouth. And if you're going to sneeze or cough, don't remove your mask. That's the whole reason why we want the mask. So you cough and you sneeze into your mask and you don't pull it down, keep it on. And how many times when our family members come, what do? We hug each other, right? Really important. If you're going to hug, make sure that mask is on, wash your hands. And if possible, do the modified elbow hug for this season. But really important, wear that mask when you're going to eat. That's the time that you can slip it down and then put it back up.
Well, thank you so much for that guidance about masks, because I know, and I could tell by the hallelujah that we're all seeing a lot of people wear their masks under their nose, which is really like terrifying and infuriating a lot
Or
of
as
the
a
time.
neck warmer, they have it like around their neck. I'm like, but what's it doing down there?
Yeah,
What's going on down there? You gotta aquí, no aquí, okay?
yeah, it's not a beard warmer under
No.
your chin.
Not a necklace.
No.
No. So in my family, we were thinking about getting on a plane and traveling to the East Coast to see some of the grandparents, and then we recently decided it's probably not a great idea this year. And we're gonna stay on FaceTime, maybe all day. I'm not sure. But do you have any guidance about traveling? Sort of, is it safe to drive somewhere? Is it safe to fly somewhere? What would your advice be on traveling this year?
On traveling, unless you really need to travel because of work, this is the one year where you probably want to stay home. If you want to drive to another county, to another state, you have to check what the regulations are at those destinations, because it really varies in terms of restrictions, in terms of what is available. And you may find that you wanted to travel because you thought, oh, we can go out and we can do things. But in reality, their restrictions may actually be more strict than ours. So really be cautious. Don't travel. Stay home and do things virtually, unless you really do have to travel.
So the holidays are supposed to be like a joyful time, and I know for many they're actually a little stressful, but this year especially, obviously they're a little more stressful, and especially within the Latinx community, it is so taboo to talk about mental health and to really discuss how we're feeling with all of this. And I was wondering if you know of any resources, free ones perhaps, that people can reach out to if they're feeling overwhelmed or lonely or even suicidal.
Those are great questions. And that's a reality, is that we are all undergoing stress. And it really is starting to get to all of us in different forms. And suicide, depression, we know has increased, especially in the Latino community. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We as a Latino community we have our comadres, our best friends, our aunts, relatives, reach out and talk to others, because you know what, more than likely, they're going to say, you know what, I feel that way too. And you really feel better when you just talk about it versus keeping it inside. Seek help, especially if you feel suicidal. There are resources that you can reach out and go to the covid19.ca.gov website and get some help. You're not alone.
That's great advice. I think it's very important too. I know that everyone Everyone struggles at times, but especially during the holidays. So it's really, I think, very important to help out our neighbors and and of course our family and friends always. And one other thing to keep in mind, we are the holidays, each one of us, whether we're in the same room or on the same online chat, whether we are together or just in each other's hearts and minds, we can still celebrate this holiday season. And listen, being Latino, we know how to do that.
We can spread cheer without spreading the virus. So let me put my friends here on the spot. And given what you've just heard, given that the most love that we can show anyone is to keep them safe, what do you think that you'll be doing for the upcoming holidays?
It's been a long time since we've gotten to just spend it in a bubble, just us. And there's something kind of magical about like staying in all day and like making food. It has that same feeling of like Saturday, Sunday morning cartoons where it's just like, it feels like the world doesn't exist and you're just in your little thing. So I think we're going to make all the Colombian stuff. We're going to make hojuelas and buñuelos and natilla, and we're going to hang out as a family.
Oh, that's lovely.
That sounds amazing.
My cousin and I do is we are cooking tamales, sharing recipes and sharing the love, and it's all virtual. I think sometimes we're even closer on some aspects than we were before COVID. We just need to remember to keep that connection once we go back to whatever the new norm is going to be.
We're going to be at home. We kind of leave my parents on FaceTime for hours, and sometimes just everybody goes about their business, and we just all know that you can pop over to the iPad or the phone and just say, hey guys, what are you doing? And my mom's reading the newspaper, and it's kind of a nice thing. So we do that on a holiday.
What a wonderful idea, Todd. That's great.
Yeah, sometimes we'll watch a movie together or watch, my dad, my brother and I watch football and I just got phones set up, and we can kind of sit there. And it's not the real thing, but it helps with the pain of not having your family in the same room.
But it becomes the real thing when there is nothing else. I think
that's right.
Loving and wonderful. You've given me some ideas.
My son plays Legos with his cousin who's playing Legos in his house, and they're playing together with the screen. So it's people are adapting. We're adapting to this moment because we have to, so that next year we can all be together.
And I think that's a great point that you just made. We're adapting to the moment because it is a moment and it's not going to last forever. And we have to remember that when we get stressed out, that, this too shall pass. So as Dr. Ramos mentioned earlier, there is plenty of information, everything you need to know on the California official coronavirus website, covid19.ca.gov. That is covid19.ca.gov. Go check it out and get all the info you need.
Y también está disponible en español en covid19.ca.gov/ES, and there are other language options as well.
You can also ask questions and get information in English, Spanish, and other languages by calling the California COVID-19 hotline at 833-422-4255.
Thank you so much to Dr. Ramos for all of the valuable information.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos.
And before we wrap up, let us take a moment to tell you that these InformaGente conversations are produced by 3 great organizations. Listos California, tasked by Governor Newsom to help everyone across the state prepare for natural disasters. LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, the oldest Latinx civil rights organization in the country. And the National Hispanic Foundation for the Arts, which helps build opportunities for Latinx entertainers and communities across California and the U.S. My friend Felix Sanchez is founder and co-chair of the foundation. Felix?
Thank you, Gloria. What a great family message from America's favorite TV family. And again, thank you to Gloria and Rita and Todd and Isabella for coming together and helping us think about the holidays and how to stay safe. The National Hispanic Foundation for the Arts joined this effort to provide the Latino community with clear and relevant information. The foundation has rallied many of its celebrity partners to create InformaGente, a web series that's bringing critical information to the Latino community, which has been amongst the hardest hit both physically and financially, by COVID-19. Rita?
Our hearts go out to all who have already been touched by this nightmare of a pandemic. We, like you, look forward to better days, that's for sure. And to all, from the cast and crew of One Day at a Time, we hope for you happy, healthy, safe holidays. And remember, your actions save lives. You can make every moment count, no matter what, if you take them.
One day
at a time.
That's all of us. One day at a time.
One day at a time.